Morning, Vintage Men. I want to share something with you from Psalms 84 out of the Passion Translation. It says, "How enriched are those who find their strength in the Lord." This is a passage of scripture that actually Pastor Travis shared on, I believe, in January, and it really resonated in my heart, especially out of the Passion. How enriched are those who find their strength in the Lord. During the season that we're going through, it's so easy to look at circumstances, to get our information from the news, to get our information from someone else that we've talked to. But the fact is, we need to be enriched. We need to find our strength from the Lord. It's that idea that we are weak in our own selves, but with Him we have the strength to endure. Within their hearts are highways of holiness. Another translation says they set their heart on the pilgrimage. I want to encourage you not to look into the future too much, because what's going to happen? Maybe you've been furloughed, maybe you've been laid off, maybe your finances, maybe your 401k, and has been just shattered. And if you look too far in the future, you're going to be in trouble. The pilgrimage, the one foot in front of the other type of attitude, where we can just trust today has enough worry, the Lord said, for itself. And if we can just entrust today to Him, then we're going to be able to then entrust our future. Set your heart on the pilgrimage. Set your heart on the highway of holiness. Allow God to do what He wants to do in your life. I once heard a quote from somebody. Her name was Corrie ten Boom, and it said this: "Is God able to place you in the most trying of circumstances with no explanation of His and no complaint of yours?" Let me say that again. Is God able to place you in the most trying of circumstances with no explanation of His and no complaint of yours? What screams out in my spirit or in my heart is, no, I can't do that, because in my own strength, it is absolutely impossible. If God is silent, where do we go? But sometimes God is silent so that we will press into Him. But what we do is we look to other sources, we run to other things, and we need to set our heart on the pilgrimage. And what really gives her statement gravitas is this: the fact that she went through the concentration camps, lost her father, lost her sister to the Nazis, and yet she was able to say, is God able to place you in the most trying of circumstances with no explanation of His? Maybe this is a season where it seems like God isn't speaking. I encourage you to stay in the Word, keep pressing on, but remember, it's a pilgrimage. It's a day-by-day walk. Don't look too far into the future. Look for God's grace for today. It says this: when their paths wind through the dark valley of tears. Yeah, when their paths walk through the dark valley of tears. David says in another psalm, this is Psalms 84 and Psalms 24 or 23, the Psalm of the Good Shepherd, he says that we will have a table set before us in the presence of our enemies. But he does say we will walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Death is part of life. And so we need to understand that when our paths wind through the valley of dark tears, and then it says this: we will dig deep to find a pleasant pool where others only find pain. What is going to define the church, I believe, in this season is that where others find tears, where others are freaking out. I just read a study today on loneliness and how loneliness is being amped up in people's life because they're being isolated. And in these times of the valley of tears, we will dig deep to find this pleasant pool. I don't know about you, but some of the mountain streams and the pools that are dug out as the river bends, where it seems so calm, but the water underneath it is actually a raging torrent. And the fact is, we need to find those pools, because that's what God is asking us to do, to dig deep where others only find pain. You know, we think sometimes if we come to Jesus, if our Christian life is holy enough, if our Christian life is void of some of the things that we think are the problem, that we will have so much peace and we will just coast through life. But the reality is, Every one of us will go through seasons where there's a valley of tears. But what are you going to do? We're going to dig deep to find those pleasant pools. Where others find pain, we are going to find peace. It says he gives them a brook of blessing, filled from the rain of an outpouring. You know, those places where those indentations in the rock that are filled up when it rains. That's what brings the animals the moisture and the water and the nourishment that they need. God is asking us to dig deep during this season, to press into him and allow him to do what he wants to do in our life. It says they will grow stronger and stronger with every step. Set your face on the pilgrimage. Set your heart on putting one foot in front of the other and allowing God to do what he wants to do in your life. You will grow stronger and stronger with every step that is going forward. And the God of gods will appear before you. And the God of gods will lead you, will direct you. I said last week, and I mean it all the same, we are going through the same thing our neighbors are going through. And what's going to differentiate us to them is we will have the peace of God. We will have the ability to trust God. We will find a pool of blessing where others only find pain. Trust the Lord this week. How enriched are those who only find their strength in the Lord. Within their hearts are the highways of holiness. They set their face to the pilgrimage. Even when their paths wind through the dark valley of tears, they dig deep to find a pleasant pool where others only find pain. He gives to them a brook of blessing, filled from the rain of an outpouring. God, bring an outpouring in this season. Let the church rise up. Let me rise up in you. They grow stronger and stronger with every step forward, and the God of gods will appear before them. Then he states this in verse 8 of Psalms 84, "Hear my cry, O God of heaven's armies, God of Jacob, listen to my loving prayer." Church, that's my prayer for you, that the God of heaven's armies will hear your cry, and the God of Jacob. Jacob was the one who was changed from the deceiver, the supplanter, to the prince with God. He had gone through so much where God was trying to get that deceiving spirit out of him so that he could be that prince with God. And David is saying, that's the one, that's the covenant, keeping God. The God of Jacob will listen to my loving prayer. Have a great week. God bless you. I'm praying for you.